Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders and CT bishops, the elder apostles and elder CT bishops of Great Millstone and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim preaching this word with truth and sincerity around the four corners. Like Elder Malcolm will be saying, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Peace and salutations to the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that live amongst the heathen that look like some of those heathen. This is not a black-only thing. Like Elder Malcolm will be saying. So shalom to the speckled bird. And peace and salutations. Salakia. Peace and salutations to the Akim and the few Aqua that listen and learn in silence. You know, shalom to y'all as well. Shalom to the true believers of the hopeful elect, the true worshipers of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. This is coming back in the spirit and theme of prophecy. And bear with me as I move around, try to get, in a suitable position to do this lesson. I got a news article that I was watching videos all morning. I was watching a video in particular from the brother Kabad, GMS Keep Pushing, from the Raleigh, North Carolina camp. Shalom to that brother. And I got the news article from watching his video. And basically it's dealing with Babylon and how it's fallen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read pieces of the article, hit a couple of precepts along the way, and Lord's willingness to be edifying. Try to make this, brief, short and sweet, to the point. But Babylon is falling. You better get right with the Heavenly Father before, all hell breaks loose. All right, this is from Web Pro News. And it says, Global Workforce Insights. It says, America's January jobs collapse. The worst start to a year since the Great Recession raises alarm bells across the economy. Yeah, there hasn't been no jobs, man. There's no jobs. People... There's multiple videos from multiple brothers in GMS around the world doing videos of people crashing out. Like Elder Hawad from the North Carolina camp. He does a couple of them, single mothers crashing out, crashing out, reprobates crashing out. Everybody's crashing out except the men of the Lord and the hopeful elect. Let me read this article. Let me read this paragraph right here. It says, U.S. employers cut jobs at the fastest January pace since the Great Recession, driven by sweeping federal workforce reductions, private sector layoffs, and tariff-fueled uncertainty, raising fears of a broader economic downturn in 2026. Yeah, you see? So, and meanwhile, while this is happening, the dollar is collapsing because the Heavenly Father is tired of Babylon. He's bringing plagues to it like he did in ancient Egypt, because Babylon is known as spiritually Sodom in Egypt. Tells you that in Revelation, the 11th chapter. But you go in the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, the Lord is bringing plagues to Egypt as before. And you best believe if there's no money, there's no jobs, there's no money, ain't gonna be no food. So a famine is coming very soon. You know, follow up with that with the crash of the U.S. dollar. You know, I got finished watching the elder bro in New York, the main camp, Amouan Gabar, and he was talking about gold and silver and how I believe gold is up to like 5,400 an ounce. Gold is like 5,400 an ounce, and silver is like I believe it's over. It's definitely it's over 100. I gotta check it again. I gotta check the gold and silver spot prices and Monex. I haven't done that in a while. You know, but things is definitely happening, you know. All right, let me read this. It says the American labor market opened 2026 with a jarring signal that has sent ripples through boardrooms, trading floors, and policy circles alike. U.S. employers slashed jobs at the fastest January pace since the Great Recession. A development that has intensified fears of a broader economic slowdown and raised urgent questions about the trajectory of federal policy, trade tensions, and corporate confidence heading into the rest of the year. That's all I'm going to read on that. We get a couple of precepts. First, let me get Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19. Because money's not going to fix the problem. It says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. Yeah. Let's read that in the NLT. It says, they will throw their money in the streets, tossing it out like worthless trash, because that's exactly what it's going to be. Because there ain't going to be no food. Ain't going to be no service. Ain't going to be nothing. All hell is really about to break loose. Because other nations have ditched the dollar. More nations are ditching the dollar. Like Amouan Gabar said, when the Saudis ditched the dollar, the only thing holding up America is the petrodollar, and countries are ditching that too. When the Saudis ditch the dollar, it's a wrap. No more oil. It says, their silver and gold won't save them on the day of the Lord's anger. It will neither satisfy nor feed them, for their greed can only trip them up. You see, so it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's the book of Proverbs chapter 11 verse 4. And it reads, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth them from death. Yeah. So all of these billionaires and millionaires and multimillionaires, And trillionaires, their riches is not going to deliver them from wrath. And it's not going to profit them in the day of wrath. The Heavenly Father still is going to require with that which is past. Not to mention that you can't be rich in Babylon unless you do something wicked. That's just the bottom line. Look at all the entertainers and all of the athletes of Jake. When I say Jake, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Look at all the so-called quote unquote wealthy people of Israel. They had to do something wicked to get to where they're at. And not all of them, a good majority of them. Let's get this real quick. It's the book of Isaiah chapter 19, verse 14 and 15. And it reads, "The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit." Yeah, the Lord mingled that perverse spirit in the world. You got people crashing out doing dumb shit. You know, like it tells you in Proverbs, the 20th chapter, man's goings of the Lord, how can then a man understand his own way? You know, the Lord got these people on a path to destruction because he hasn't chosen to deliver them from calamity. Verse 15, here's the point. It says, "Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do." You see? There ain't going to be no work for Egypt. No work for America. And if you're in the know, you heard Elon Musk talking about universal basic income, that UBI. You know, giving people a set amount of money each month. You know, that's trying to get them complacent to take the MOTB. But that's another lesson for another time. Let me get this. This is the book of John, chapter 9, verse 4. And you see it's written in red. So this is what Yahushua said. Like Apostle Gabar said. I said, "I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work." You see? So there's going to come a point in time, and that day is coming up very soon, where there's going to be a famine of the word. You know, that the spiritual work is going to cease as well as the physical work, which the spiritual work can be physical as well, but it's mostly reading, you know, studying, fasting, praying, and prophesying. There's going to come a point in time where the apostles and the elders and young brothers like myself with GMS not going to be on the highways and hedges. If you've been paying attention in New York, the brothers only went out like one time, like the first week of January, and then after that, it's been cold, and the weather hasn't permitted us to go out. You know, that I take that as a sign. The Heavenly Father's about to shut this shit down. About to shut this thing down. Let me put it that way. Salakia. Let me get this. There's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 6. And it reads, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance." I mean, you see Lord in all caps, to let you know it's talking about the Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. It says, "Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense." Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, and the wine represents the ideologies, the philosophies, you know, the basically America taught the world how to do things, and it was the blueprint on how to do things, and the world copied it. The different nations copied her, and now they're just starting. You know, their place is depleting. The women are looking for jobs instead of staying at home and raising a family. You know, the men have lost power. And this is happening all over the world. You know, just to name a few things that America is guilty for. America is definitely guilty for pushing that Moism and alphabet lifestyle to the world, pushing the feminism lifestyle to the world. All of these is death styles. It doesn't produce life, it produces death. So these nations are angry. Verse 8 and 9, it says, "Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies." Yeah, you see, so it's a wrap for this place. The only thing left is the MOTB, the implementation of the MOTB, the mandatory implantable device, and WW3. You know, and the Lord judging this place by thermonuclear and hypersonic missiles. That's the only thing left. And it's vastly approaching. If you've been watching the brothers' videos, you know, the scientists said that it's 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest we've been to destruction. Because they even know that time that the wicked elite know that their time on earth is going to be short lived. You know, they have they only got a certain amount of time. Like it tells you in Job, the 14th chapter, that Esau's days are determined, and he has bounds that he cannot pass. The number of his days are with thee. You know, but I'm gonna end on that. Salaki. Lord willing, you was edified. Till next time, we're gonna say shalom to the elect. And get right with the Heavenly Father while you still got time. Because things are definitely shutting down.